Today we're going to be talking about my favorite caramel fragrances in my collection. These fragrances will either explicitly feature the note of caramel or have a caramelized quality in their composition. I'm really excited about sharing these picks with you since I have fragrances across all price points. Let's kick things off with Raise Spirits by Navitus. This was one of their influencer collaborations with Adolescents, aka Steven Gabrielatos. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But this is one of those fragrances that I got a decant of. I really loved it, and for some reason I overlooked this fragrance. I did not get a full bottle, and I'm kind of kicking myself because I honestly forgot about this perfume, and I was looking through my decants and looking through my samples just to get some extra content for this video, and I smelled this and I was like, oh boy, this is amazing. And I think that the reason I might have overlooked it was because I originally got this decant when I also got a decant of Venom of Love, fell in love with Venom of Love, ended up getting a full-size bottle of that. But honestly, this is amazing. Let me tell you what it smells like. This perfume is a gourmand fragrance with notes of caramel, pimento leaf, rum, a bit of tobacco, vanilla, cashmere, and this is one of those perfumes that when you hear the notes, you think this is going to be a hyper gourmand fragrance, and that honestly is not the case at all. Yes, this is a gourmand, but it's not your traditional gourmand. It's not your sugary, syrupy sweet, even though it has that note of brown sugar. So in the opening, it smells very boozy. You do get that rum accord. You get a bit of the pimento leaf. So it's slightly, I guess like the proper way to say it would be slightly, like ever so slightly spicy, but not really, because then the caramel comes through. And I sprayed this on a few minutes ago, so I'm getting the dry down now. In the dry down, you get some brown sugar and caramel, but it's brown sugar in a way that is paired very nicely with the oak in the base. So this perfume is very much unisex, and it's not your typical gourmand fragrance, because when you think of your typical gourmand fragrances that smell like sugar and caramel, you think of something that smells very edible and very gourmand. This smells like those notes but aged in oak barrels. It's very interesting. It's sweet but not too sweet. It's a gourmand fragrance that's not going to make you hungry, and it's completely unisex. So it's one of those fragrances that's not like a heavy hitter. It's not like a beast projection. I smell this perfume very much in the opening, but then in the dry down, it smooths itself out a little bit into something that is a little bit closer to the skin, but it stays on quite nicely, and it's very alluring. So it's sweet but not too sweet. It's just such a beautiful caramel perfume. So Raise Spirits by Navitus, I can't believe I have overlooked this one for so long, and I did really love it when I first got the decant, but I think I might have just like forgotten about it because I had some other decants at the time. But oh my goodness, this is amazing. Raise Spirits, get yourself a decant or a sample if you want to try this one out. But honestly, it's sold out on the website right now for a reason, because this is such a gorgeous fragrance. I really, really love it. So let's transition over to a designer perfume. Oh my gosh, I love this fragrance. It's Lancome's Idole Nectar, and this perfume is very, very interesting because it features the notes of caramel, popcorn, and rose. So when you think of the traditional Idole scent composition, they really feature that note of rose. And this kicks it off into the gourmand category without making it smell like a very linear gourmand perfume. In fact, it has some complexity because there's that beautiful rich rose, but it's paired with that slight saltiness of the popcorn, that buttery sweetness of the caramel, and it's something that's altogether, in my opinion, very unique and absolutely amazing. I kick myself because I did not get a larger size of this, because I just was like, you know what, I'm going to get the smaller size, but and see how I like it. I love it. It's an amazing perfume. I get compliments on this one. It's absolutely stunning. So I have a lot of gourmand fragrances in my collection. I'm going to feature some more literal gourmand perfumes in this video, of course. My experience with gourmand fragrances has been that since I have so many literal gourmand perfumes in my collection, which I will feature in this video, of course, now whenever I go for a new gourmand perfume, I want it to have a little bit of a unique quality to it. I don't want it to smell like everything else. And this absolutely satisfied that itch for me. This is such a gorgeous fragrance. It satisfies the gourmand in you, and it also adds a bit of a traditional floral note, but it works. It really is stunning. So, Idole Nectar, beautiful fragrance. I can easily picture myself getting a larger size of this because this is a beautiful perfume. A perfume that is very much literal with the caramel is Cheiroza 71 by Sol de Janeiro. This is supposed to be a body mist, but it functions just as well, if not better, than most perfumes out there. This is a caramelized toasted macadamia nut fragrance. It smells very photorealistic. To some people, it is a little bit too intense. For me, it's absolutely perfect. It will get you compliments, at least that's my experience. It just smells like an actual dessert. It smells like a cookie, like a caramelized cookie. It smells so, so good. It's nutty, it's sweet. Honestly, it's a little bit overbearing in some instances, but with my body chemistry personally, this just melts into my skin and it ends up giving a sillage that people really, really love. So if you're interested in a hyper-realistic gourmand perfume, absolutely try Sol de Janeiro Cheiroza 71. However, I caution you, this is a rather intense fragrance. So you have to really love your gourmand perfumes to appreciate this one, but I love it. It's one of my favorite fragrances. Clearly, I have used this a lot, and I will say this, guys, love this perfume. So if you're interested in a perfume that's very seductive, that's very inviting, this is absolutely that. This is a catnip. This is catnip if you're interested in getting a guy all over you. This is a gorgeous perfume for that. But personally, I also just really love this fragrance a lot. I actually wore this a lot last year, which is where I got this scent from. I'm pretty much almost done with this bottle. Now, admittedly, I'm kind of taking a break from this fragrance because I've worn it so much, and now I'm just experimenting with other perfumes. But regardless, this is a fantastic option if you're looking for a caramel fragrance that's rich, full-bodied, and smells very hyper-realistic. This is absolutely one to try, and it's only like about $20-$25. Not bad at all, and it's pretty accessible as well. We are getting a little bit spicier with this next option by Nuit Nomade. This is Sugar Leather, such a stunning fragrance with caramel, a bit of a resinous undertone, labdanum, leather, cinnamon, and it's such like a very delicate cinnamon. It's not overly done. It's a very smooth fragrance, and I really like it. This is ideal for the holidays if you're looking for something a little bit spicy, but you still want something that's very smooth and very wearable, because sometimes cinnamon can be a little bit scratchy in some fragrances. This is not scratchy at all in my opinion. It's very smooth, very well done, and honestly, this is such a fantastic fragrance. So in terms of the leather, you might be wondering, okay, is the leather going to be too prominent in this? In my opinion, it's a very suede-like leather. So it's leather, but it's not going to be overpowering the fragrance. If anything, it provides a little bit of a velvety undertone to the cinnamon and caramel combination. So it's sweet, but it's not too sweet. There's a bit of sugar in here, but it definitely gives a more burnt sugar feel. So, Sugar Leather, such an amazing fragrance, especially as we transition into the winter months. This is amazing, and you can get, like, I think this size bottle for about $95, which is not bad at all considering the quality of this fragrance. And of course, they have larger sizes, but I forget the pricing off the top of my head. This is one of those niche houses that is very affordable, but the quality is very superior as well. So, Sugar Leather by Nomade, absolutely a gorgeous fragrance. I'm going to speed through these fragrances rather quickly since I have featured them in a lot of videos recently. I'm talking about Caramel Oud and Coffee Addict, both by Theodoros Kalotinis. They both feature the note of caramel, but in very different ways. So Coffee Addict is one of their original fragrances. This is an almost bitter coffee scent with ribbons of caramel in the perfume. It's really, really beautiful. Quite a photorealistic coffee scent. Quite possibly my favorite coffee fragrance of all time. This is amazing. However, the prominent note here is most certainly coffee with an accent of caramel. This next one, I'm trying to make sure I don't drop these, is Caramel Oud. This, again, is a fragrance that features caramel, but it also has a bit of a toffee macaron note to it, and it also features oud. So it's a woody, sweet fragrance. It's different. It's a little bit sweeter than Coffee Addict. So this is absolutely a crowd-pleasing perfume. Whenever I have worn this in front of other people, they always compliment me, and people definitely see the woody aspect of this perfume in my experience, more so than the actual caramel, but the caramel is still quite present in this perfume. It just accents the oud, versus in this fragrance, the caramel accents the coffee. So both amazing fragrances, some of my favorites from Theodoros Kalotinis, and at this point I think I have like 6 bottles from them. I absolutely love this house. So Caramel Oud is their newest fragrance. It's very hyped up right now. Again, it's quite like a macaron toffee fragrance with a little bit of oud and caramel, versus Coffee Addict, very realistic coffee fragrance with ribbons of caramel running through it. Both are amazing options and highly recommend each of these fragrances. Another stunning caramel perfume happens to be from Profumo di Firenzi. This is Buontalenti. It's inspired by the dessert Buontalenti that was created by the Florentine inventor of gelato. And this is a gorgeous gourmand fragrance with this coconut gelato vibe, a bit of red berries, bananas in the opening, but in the dry down you definitely get an almost like a vanilla ice cream accord with waffle cone and a hint of caramel. This is a very complex fragrance in my collection. This is one that has a little bit of a journey to it. It's not linear by any means. It's just such a beautiful fragrance. I love this perfume. One of my favorite gourmand perfumes. It does perform better in warmer weather. In the winter, it kind of stays a little bit close to the skin, and the lasting power is not as amazing. But regardless, this is another great caramel option as well, where caramel is featured as an accent note. But this is such a gorgeous fragrance. Absolutely a compliment-getting perfume. I love this one. This next perfume is a niche fragrance, and my decant is on its last legs, so I will very likely be purchasing a full-size bottle of this. I'm talking about Byron's Mula Rouge Extreme. So this perfume has notes of strawberry, raspberry, and cherry at the top, a mid of caramel, ginger, and a note called willow herb, which comes off a little bit medicinal. And then you have the base of oud, vanilla, patchouli, and a bit of sandalwood. So this is a perfume that smells very fruity, but it does have that medicinal edge to it that makes it a little bit unique. And it's also accented with that caramel. As you can probably tell, I love fragrances that have a caramel accent. So this is a perfume that is most definitely a compliment getter. It lasts a very long time. It has a gorgeous sillage. I think the first time I ever wore this perfume, I was in a restaurant and the waiter complimented my fragrance, and it was just a perfume that was wafting, like wafting from me, and the sillage was absolutely amazing. So naturally, this is a fragrance that people really tend to be drawn towards, and I love this one. I haven't tried a lot of the Byron perfumes. I think from what I can remember, they seem to do caramel very, very well. So I don't have a lot of their fragrances available to me just yet. But this one is my first fragrance from the brand in decant form, and I very likely will be getting a full size of this one. But I'm very curious about trying their new caramel fragrance, the one in the green bottle. So who knows? I might get that one instead of this full bottle. We'll see. All right, those are all the caramel fragrances I had to share with you today. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I do have some more gourmand perfumes coming up in the pipeline very soon. I did a little bit of Black Friday shopping, so there are definitely new fragrances that I will be reviewing for you very shortly. I just haven't received them yet in the mail. Hopefully they come. I have one fragrance that I think is lost in the mail. We'll see. I hope I get that fragrance, because if I don't, I'll be very upset. But thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and I will see you next time. Bye.